Welcome to Zentangle Project Pack No.18. This is day 7. My name is Rick.
Hi, I'm Maria, and today we're going to fool around with these beautiful pieces, the General's Chalk pencils, the Micron 01, the pencil, and the white chalk.
And all of these materials we go over in the introductory video because there's some new tools and new surfaces that we're playing with here.
Okay, so we're going to start out with gratitude, appreciation for this new paper. It's kind of wonderful for me because it brings back all my memories of working with real vellum in my calligraphy work. And this paper is called vellum paper, but it's not real vellum. Real vellum is animal skin. Anyway, we're going to be working with a technique from Horace Hofnagel, and this is one of my favorite books in the world. It's just so beautiful. His illustrations,
I can see where you get the bug.
The bugs, yeah, right. I think that's
and bijou.
That's where I really started liking the bugs, right? Look at that bijou. Oh my God, is that Uncle Alphonse? Maybe.
With a little printemps on there.
Look at this. It's just unbelievably beautiful.
So this is a great book to look at, and one of the things that he brings out in this book is the reason that Maria's showing it to you is that he inspired this idea of working on vellum paper.
Well, what he did was working on both sides,
right,
on one piece. So one piece of artwork would have parts on both sides of the paper because you could see through the vellum. And you would draw your flowers or illustration or whatever, and you would make it look like it was pierced through the paper, which, if in this particular case, was totally impossible for that little thing. But anyway,
we're going to do it.
We're going to do it. So we're going to start out. We're going to be working with like a ribbon type thing, just to get a feel for how this works. And with our pencil, we're going to draw a ribbon that's maybe, an inch and a half, Rick?
Yeah.
A little bit over an inch wide. And we're going to stop right there and
do the same thing on the other side.
Do the same thing on the other side. Which
sort of laying down this is a version of a more deliberate string here,
right.
String and border.
So you can see that I'm sort of measuring it off and going in on the other side.
This actually brings Hollabaugh to a whole new level.
Right. So now we're going to quote, in quotation marks, we're going to cut this paper. And we're going to pretend like we're taking a knife to it, and we're going to cut the paper so that the ribbon appears to be going through the paper to the backside and then out again. And I'm going to add these little details here and there, well,
you're sort of cutting it a little bit wider than the ribbon.
Right, so that you can get it through, right? So just very gentle on this. You don't want to go too hard, too dark, any of those things. This is just to kind of guide you along. This is such an amazing technique, and you're going to impress so many people with this. So now I'm going to add some tangles to this beautiful ribbon. And of course, I couldn't go that long without doing muka. And we're going to use muka as a texture tangle or a background tangle or all over, what do you call it? Like a texture tangle, right?
Texture, filling it in, like painting with muka, like if you're putting down a coat of muka here.
Yeah. You fill your brush really well and don't clean it because I'm really big on having some different colors coming in. And we're just going to fill up all that space with as much muka as we can. And using some techniques from some old manuscripts and how to keep the muka interesting.
And one of the things to just bring everybody's attention to this is we're doing muka, and you're going to see that muka is all about the aura. So you do that initial shape.
Right.
And then you go back and aura it, and as it interacts with itself, it goes in a hollow bar fashion.
This is, you might want to just put your pen down and watch for a while and get the feeling of how we put the muka together as a texture. Because what I want is I want it to have almost no white space that's any bigger than that.
Like a muka head.
Muka stem or any part of the muka. I don't want to have a lot of white space in there. So I'm doing this thing where I start at the top and do the top part of the muka and then just finish it off so that it makes it look like it's right next to it, but it's using the stroke from the one before it.
One. So it's sharing its identification there.
This is a really cool technique, and once you get rolling on that, you'll use it often because it can. By having done those mukas in the beginning, it gives us something to go behind. So it makes it interesting, more complex than you would think.
And you can have those first ones go in any direction, and then just play with this technique of using aura and hollow bar.
So again, now you're going up and doing the top part, and then coming down with your stem.
And just remembering that this is on like a ribbon, so it stays within that little border, at least on this one.
I like to do these little kissing mukas where they tend to move over and go really close to the other one, so that it defines some little spaces that you then fill with either more muka or something else. Does that make sense? Yeah, right?
Yeah. And that's exactly what you do in this.
Right. So you can see how they're sort of kissing and touching and
and where they don't, you just draw behind. So you always have that option, knowing whatever you do, it's going to work out. Nice.
They're so graceful and at first, they look a little wonky and wiggly, but once you put them all together, it works, and it has a very natural look to it because it's not too perfect. Too perfect is overrated. You don't want it to look like it came off a computer. That's the wrong thing.
What's that little mushroom? Is it criminy mushroom?
Yeah, like a criminy. It does look like that, doesn't it? So I'm going to add some texture in here, some black. And see where that takes us, just to add some drama.
So this technique of filling the interstices, we do this a lot particularly in flux, but it can be applied in so many tangles, and it gives that lovely contrast. It's just really brings it to life.
Okay, so we're going to just flip this over and do it on the other side. And it doesn't have to look like exactly the other side. It just has to kind of go with it and complement it, right? Mm-hmm. So again, I'm going to do some bold ones and that float across so that we can go behind them.
I love how it just arcs up with that lovely curve, and then carefully auraing it back. Mm-hmm. And you can decide, are they going to touch? Are they not going to touch? Are they going to overlap? Are they not going to overlap? And each one is going to be different.
I have to remind myself to say things here because
it's entrancing, right?
Rick and I do our voiceovers after we do the drawing. And we're sitting here together watching this and doing I feel like a football play-by-play, right. Which is very ironic because I know nothing about football, but I could talk forever on writing. Right. And
look at that.
Yeah. See how there's just kisses over there.
So have fun with this, just interact with the tile and see where you think they might grow and how they might like to grow together, where they might just propagate and come out, and play with, okay, if they're drawing behind, where do they come out on the bottom, and all these different places.
So we're calling this a ribbon, but it could be anything, because it almost looks like they're growing out from under there, right?
Mm-hmm. And this brings up another little interesting idea, is that any tangle, I think any tangle, can be used as a border. And we wouldn't normally think of muka as a border tangle, but here it's doing exactly that on this ribbon.
I actually use muka as a border often. But
you use muka on everything.
I use muka on everything. It's just my go-to, and everybody has their go-to that they feel comfortable with. And when you can't think of what to draw, you can always just go there. But this is really interesting because it actually is growing from the middle out. Mm-hmm. And we'll see what we're going to do on the other side. We'll see how we deal with that, right?
Nice.
How fun is that? I'm trying to, what does this remind me of? Something like a carved handle of a sword hilt.
Yes.
What is that? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go with that.
So we're going to delineate this cut in the paper, this so-called cut, going carefully over that pencil line and giving it a little bit of a opening there. You can see now how we just slid that muka right in there.
And those cuts go both in the same direction.
Right, because,
if you remember looking at that in the book there, it's very cool.
Ah, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. Okay, so what are we going to do with this? We're going to put our lines there just to keep our...
Just sort of restating it.
Yeah.
So now we're on the other side.
Right.
So this would be where the ribbon is over here.
Right.
So let's set up that border or string. And we're sort of playing with the impossible, the impossibilities in some ways here, but that's part of what we do here. Play with impossibilities.
Okay, so we're going to put a few muka fronds, and you're going to sort of have them kind of meeting up with the lines on the front. You can see that. They won't all do that, but enough of them just to give you that feeling. So I'm going to do it that side. Take your time.
Nice. And it just gives that hint of connection there, right?
Right. And I'm taking care of the edges right away, so you won't have to worry about that. And oh yeah.
Just that little touch.
Cool.
So you can see the direction this is going here. It's just going to be more muka, and they connect. But even if they don't all have to connect. Just enough to give that idea that this is a continuous ribbon going through.
So now we're going to play with that technique that we were doing before, with using the muka coming from the top, and then using the previous muka for the edge.
And just imagining how they're growing there, like you left them too long and they're all growing up and clustered, and you come back and say, wow, what'd you guys do? Just when I think you couldn't put one in there, you do.
I know, right?
So now, just like on the other side, we'll go in and fill those interstices.
This is such a great concept. I love this, and I love being able to share it with everybody. Teaching you to do something just unexpected. And this paper just begs for it, right?
Right. And we love the idea of this opening up ideas that we wouldn't have thought of otherwise, because the whole concept of being able to work on a piece of art that is translucent and the possibilities and the potential is very exciting.
So here we go with that. Redefining that line, the cut line. Once you get used to doing this, you probably wouldn't have to go in with pencil again. You know, the coming from the other side would be enough. But I just wanted you to be aware of what we were doing.
Nice.
So we're going back to the front, and we're going to add some color. And I have an orange and what was the other one? It's like a purple. I can't remember now.
But this is fascinating because you're using so much orange, and orange is not your favorite color.
Not my favorite color, but these mugas seem to like it.
Yeah. And we're working with what was in the project packs that we opened. So
yeah. I think Molly handed me this one on purpose just to see, to challenge me.
Molly loves orange.
Yeah, she is such an orange person. You would think that mother and daughter would have some sort. We're totally opposite in our styles and our, and I think that's just an artist's way,
right?
You know?
And that's part of what's so nice about having, different people showing different ways of doing this. Is you realize, like, well, each of us, Molly, Martha, Maria, Julie, me, all of us do it a little bit differently. So that means you can do it a little bit differently as well.
But it also gives you're learning from different people. So it's like you want to learn from different chefs because they all have different spices that they use, or one likes spicy food, the other one doesn't, or one likes fish, the other one doesn't. So you get a more overall education.
Right, learn more possibilities.
Going in to give the ribbon itself some texture here on the edges.
So it's like you can shade the individual elements within a tangle, or you can shade the area within which the tangle is, what the string defines it.
So where the little cut marks were, you're going to give that a nice solid darkening there, so it's shaded going underneath there.
One of the neat things about this surface and the graphite and the chalk is the way that it blends.
Oh, the tortillon loves this paper.
Yeah, and it just really, you can get a really subtle gradation.
And the paper's very strong, so unlike some of the handmade papers that we use, you can be more aggressive with the tortillon than on the others. And it's very smooth.
And you can see she's using the very side of the tortillon, so that's going to keep it living longer.
Right. So we're going to add a little bit of graphite where the cut mark is going, forcing the paper to come out towards you, to have it some three-dimensionality. And we're doing that by just giving it a little lift on one side, a little shading. And softly, get it, you can see it. Wow, it's 3D. All of a sudden, 3D. How cool is that, right? Wow.
And then just with the graphite that was on the tortillon, added a little on the other side.
So you don't want to put shading on both sides of this particular piece. It's kind of defined as, where your light source is. Look at that. You can see, you're seeing right through the paper, right? How fun is that? Look at that. How cool.
Very cool.
See, now where we mark the cut marks, go in and shade there.
Right, so
And
that's
that's
going
really
under.
going under. You can see it
Yeah.
going under. That's what you want. How pretty is that, right? It's like alive.
Like a little bit on the edges. And bring in your graphite tortillon. As we joke, they all become graphite tortillons sooner or later.
So this is funny, though. On the top of the ribbon, the mukas are going one way. The bottom, they're going the other way. In the middle, they go both.
Hey, it's a special ribbon.
It's an animation, and it's like a superpower. I
Right?
can get them to grow all different ways.
Magic muka.
Love that.
Right?
How cool.
Very sweet.
So this was another iteration, when we're trying things out, and this was one of the first ones.
So I don't know if you can notice that Maria accentuated the ribbon at the edges of the paper there.
Right.
Trimmed it out with cuticle scissors.
Yeah. I always have them because sometimes I do my nails at my desk, and sometimes I do a tangle. I always have the little scissors. Oh, and then look at this. It's as if I took the ribbon and folded it over so it wouldn't.
And the ribbon itself is translucent.
That's right, isn't that is the coolest thing, right?
We're so easily amused.
I know, right? Oh.
So hopefully this gives you some ideas and inspiration of what ways you can play with this.
Yeah. I don't know. That was sort of an afterthought, right?
And the subtle shading, you can tell it's just with the graphite on the tortillon.
Oh, and I just started doing some other things with ribbons going in all different directions. And this muka was going in totally different directions. Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
And you can see where I cut the sides. See where I cut the
And
sides,
looks
where
like
the black and white ribbon's going. See it? How fun!
Well, I hope everybody has as much fun with this as we obviously have had.
I know.
And show us what you have, and we will see you.
Yeah, I'd love to see it on the app, right? Yeah.
See you soon.
Okay. See you later.
Bye now.
Bye.